What's up, everybody? It's your girl Winter. Thank you for clicking on my video today. As you read the title, I'm gonna be telling y'all part 2 of the worst job experience I ever had. If you find yourself strolling across this video first, make sure you check out part 1, because this one ain't gonna make no sense unless you look at part 1. Before I get into this video, make sure you hit like and subscribe. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out where should I even start with this second manager. So I believe on part 1 I left off telling y'all basically that the second manager was kind of messy, and those were some red flags, to look out for. So everything between me and her was still like cool at that point. I ended up having a family vacation, and we had went to New York. So before I went to New York, she for some reason she never liked people to go out of town. You can have PTO time and all that, and she still would be like, are you sure you need to go out of town? Or try to like guilt trip you to stay at work, because she's like, oh, we probably need your help, we probably not gonna have that many accounts when you gone, all that. I ain't trying to hear all that. If I'm going out of town, I got the PTO time, I'm going out of town. Because best believe, if she can go out of town, she would. If she can make stuff happen, she would. So she mad because I went out of town. I go out of town, and it's coworkers texting me like, yeah, so I called my first manager Jack. Let's give my second manager a name. So I'm gonna call her Jackie. There wasn't a lot of thought put into that, but let's just say Jackie is basically telling coworkers different. I can't even remember like everything that she was saying about me. Like I can't even remember. It was just little stupid petty little stuff, basically just trying to, I guess, just have a conversation at work. I don't know. So I come back from out of town. Now when I had took the family vacation, it was right around the time that COVID had just like really got started. So when I came back in town, actually when I was in New York, actually this is a true thing. When I was in New York, before I left, this was last year actually too. So 2020, I went to New York. Before I left to New York, nobody in St. Louis had on a mask. Nobody was like, everybody, like people was knowing about COVID, but people wasn't like as like, ooh, about it right now. And it's just been a year. So going to New York, nobody's wearing a mask, none of that. When I got in New York, people had on masks. That's like the first time I seen it. And, you know, it just made me and my family like, damn, like this must really be something that's gonna stick. Like we didn't know if it was gonna stick or not, or like how things was gonna play out with COVID. So I come back in town. When we come back to St. Louis, and we was out of town for like 3 days, I think 3 or 4 days. We out of town for 3 or 4 days. When we come back in town, come back to St. Louis, Missouri, everybody is wearing a mask. Everybody has to wear a mask. Like that was just so weird to me how before I leave, nobody wearing a mask. We go to New York, everybody in New York wearing a mask. 3 or 4 days later, we come back and people got on a mask. Like I was like, what the hell is this? So HR ended up finding out that I was in New York, and at that time New York was at a real high rate of COVID cases, so they had me quarantined for 14 days. So I actually come to the branch, and before I went out of town, me and her had kind of got into it a little bit, because before Jackie was the manager, I never had no issues with my time card, or every time I got paid, it was the correct amount. It was what I worked, and I didn't have nothing missing. Before I went to New York with my family, for some reason, I had like a day missing. So I'm asking my coworkers, I'm like, when did I work that day? They like, yeah. So I'm like, the day missing, whatever. You know, I end up I tried to call her. She didn't answer the phone. So I sent payroll an email, and I attached Jackie to it and was like, I never had this happen before. My check is missing a day. I'm about to go out of town, and I was getting paid that upcoming Thursday. before I went out. Like, I was getting paid. I was going to get paid while I was already out of town. So I was like, you know, I would like to have my day on my check if possible, because I'm going to be out of town. So I want to use that money. And of course, you know, they like, oh, we're going to put on your next check. Like, when do jobs ever put your money on your check after your like time card been stamped? But I was just, you know, I was just really letting them be aware of the situation. And if they could make something happen for me, I was going to be grateful, you know. So that was before I even went out of town that happened. So they end up, like I said, letting me know that they're going to put it on my next check. I'm like, okay. So I come back in town. I go up to the branch. And she like, can you come to my office, please? So I'm like, okay. So I come in there. She all like, I don't appreciate you hitting up HR or I don't appreciate you hitting up payroll and saying that this has never happened before, and basically making her look like she a bad manager. I'm like, I'm sorry if that's what you took from it, but that wasn't my intentions. I even added you in the email. I wasn't trying to do nothing sneaky or behind your back and make you look bad. I was letting y'all be aware of the situation. And also, yes, I did state this has never happened to me before. Like, okay, deal with it. It hasn't. So she turned her computer to me, and she all like, don't you feel stupid? Don't you feel dumb? And saying like, she don't know how the day got deleted from me working. I'm like, it doesn't matter if you don't know. I don't care about none of that shit. Just make sure that extra day is on my next check. That's all I ask. Like, I don't give a fuck about what you're talking about. And two, should no manager ever come to you and say, don't you feel stupid? Don't you feel silly? To me, you're asking for an argument. To me, you asking to get into a fight. Like, she don't know me from a can of paint. Like, she don't know me like that to be like, don't you feel stupid? Certain people, if you say, don't you feel stupid, or you try to come at them at that level, do you know what the fuck will happen to you? Like, so I'm just like, okay, all right. You know, like, this lady is silly, obviously. So then I tell her, I'm like, yeah, and you know, I heard that you was saying X, Y, and Z while I was out of town. Because I'm really trying to remember, like, what she said. And it's like, I want to remember so bad what my coworker was like texting me that she was saying, but I just can't, like, I can't remember. So I confront her about it. I'm like, yeah, I heard that you was saying da 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 da. I'm like, you just keep up too much mess at the store. Like, I'm like, you know, you being a manager, you not showing a good example. You the manager, and you out here gossiping like a little girl, basically. And that's how I felt, like, by her having that position. Like, they paying you the big bucks. You got an office and shit, but you keep up the most shit in the store. Like, make that make sense to me. It don't. So she like, oh, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. And she like, HR is on the phone. I'm like, okay. So that's when HR starts telling me, oh, you just came back from New York, so you need to, I need to quarantine for 14 days. So I'm like, all right, whatever, cool. So I leave, you know, for 14 days, and I come back. As soon as I came back, it was like ever since that whole moment happened with us, like in her office, even before I left, and I just let them be aware of the situation, said it's never happened before. And I feel like she was being real immature about the whole situation. Like, it don't matter if I said this never happened before, because facts still remain. This has never happened to me before. Like, I don't care how in your feelings you is about it. Like, the fuck, you know? So I come back from the 14 days, and basically she's like, you know, she's so fake. She like, I don't have a problem with you, or I don't know what the problem is between us, and I just want everything to be cool. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, but I still can feel like a little tension between me and her. And I'm just like, okay, that's cool. So a few weeks go down the line, I actually end up finding out that I was pregnant. So of course I had to tell everybody at work so that I can do enrollment for me to get paid time off after I have the baby. So she finds out, and she's still just being a little fake. Like, people still come to me telling me stuff that she's saying, But at this point, I'm like, you know, I'm pregnant now. I would tell them, you know, I don't want to hear it, basically. Whatever she's saying, I don't care. I don't want to hear it. It's probably not even true anyway. She's not happy with her life. Like, I don't want to hear that negativity. So it got to a point where, like, she noticed I wasn't tripping off her, and I feel like that low-key made her mad. And she started, like, I would come in the morning and I would speak to her, because I had to walk past her office to even to get to where we kept our items at before we started working or whatever. So I walked past, I'm like, oh, hey, good morning. She'll look up at me, put her head back down, and keep working. I'm like, I don't know, what the fuck, like, you know. And it got to the point where she started, like, I knew she had a drug problem, and I knew she smoked weed. I knew that much. And I knew she took, like, Adderall, like, pop pills, all that. But she started getting, like, a little comfortable. I think, like, her being a manager for a little minute made her feel a little comfortable. So she was starting to come to work, like, hella fucked up. Like, so the first manager is a drunkie. The second manager, a drug addict. And I don't know what all she was taking either. Like, that's the thing. Like, so you know how you work a job and you had, like, the keys or whatever, and you had a little wrist thing that holds the keys. So she in her office one day, and she had started developing habits of Jack. And she would come in and be like, oh, I'm so busy today. Like, guys, if you don't need me, please just don't bother me, and close her door. So one day I'm walking past, you know, I always looked in her. I didn't give a fuck if she spoke or not. I'm going to look you in your face. I'm going to look you dead in your eyes, and I'm going to still speak to you. So I came in one day. I looked in her office, and she has the little thing to her keys, and she just, like, just chewing on it. Like, she that high. Like, she that high off whatever pill she done took, or whatever she done snorted, or whatever the fuck she took before she came to work. And her eyes was, like, bloodshot red. And she just chewing on the little thing. And I'm just looking at her like, damn, like, she hella fucked up today. So half the day she in her office. By the time, like, a little bit after lunchtime this same day, she comes out, and her eyes still hella red. I'm like, damn, like, what the fuck is this that's lasting these many hours that your eyes are still red like this? Excuse me. So she come out, and she kind of, like, asked everybody, like, oh, you know, how everything been going, because mind you, her ass been in her office for half the day. And, you know, we all like, everything cool, everything been going good. And she's looking at a piece of paper. Like, I think that somebody was trying to, like, show her something. They had, like, printed it out and was trying to show her something. And she was holding a piece of paper and looking over the paper. Like, you could tell her eye contact wasn't on that piece of paper. It's like she could not focus on that piece of paper. Like, I don't know. I can't explain it right, but if you get what I'm saying, like, somebody hella fucked up, they just can't concentrate type shit. Like, her concentration was, like, off. So further down the line, she started, one thing she told me, when me and her was cool, me and her used to actually be cool. And we would do, like, store walkthroughs, because mind you, I told you this bank is inside Walmart. So some of our clientele came from, like, people that was shopping at Walmart. So before COVID and everything, they used to let everybody walk around Walmart and try to get clientele. So one thing that she told me while we were still cool, she said that people that take heroin, basically, they have a whole, like, their face will break out the next day. Like, say tonight they do it, the next day, say they don't have no bump on their face, you see them, yes, today. If they shoot up tonight, tomorrow they're gonna have a bump that just randomly appears, like, on their face or whatever. So she just always, another red flag was she always accused everybody of being high, everybody of being on drugs. And to me, like, that's another red flag. Why the fuck do you care? Why do your mind even think like that? Like, I could literally be helping a customer. This back when we was cool, I could be helping a customer, and her ass would be like, oh my God, did you see God? Did you see his eyes? Oh my God. dude look blowed. Oh my God, he looks so fucked up. Like, girl, what? I mean, I might think it, but that ain't the conversation for me. Like, I really don't give a fuck. Like, what you do is your business. What you do in your free time ain't got shit to do with me. I'm just at work. That's how I felt. Like, I'm just on the clock. I'm at work type shit. So that's one thing. She always would tell me different signs of when people was fucked up, and she can tell the symptoms or the signs for like whatever type of drug it is that they took. Like, she would tell me if they pupils or something was like real dilated or real low, like whatever type of drug it was that they took or some, you know, just whatever. So this actually was used against her ass with us not being cool no more. So us not being cool no more, I'm still paying attention to her, and I'm still just trying to be cool and nice, because I honestly don't know what the fuck her problem is. I think she was mad because I confronted her. I think she got mad because I also had hit up payroll and was like, this never happened to me before. So I felt like she thought that she felt like she was being tested, because she real manipulating. And that's one thing, manipulating people do not like when you call them out on their shit. And that's one thing that I'm gonna do. Like, I don't care who you is, I'm gonna tell you what the fuck is up. Like, I just never been the type to not say nothing. And if I don't say nothing, it's I must have a little bit of respect for you, or it's a reason why I'm not saying nothing. Like, it's a real reason I haven't checked your ass. So look, I done got completely off topic. So basically, she started, me and her not cool no more, but I'm still paying attention to her ass. So she started coming into work with bumps on her face out the blue. One thing she did tell me though is that she smoked weed, like I mentioned before, and that she took Adderall in, you know, some type of pill form. So that's the things that I knew that she took, but I didn't know everything else she took. But she always act like, basically, we knew that she was a pill popper. We knew that she smoked weed, but we didn't know that she was shooting up heroin, you know. So she coming in, bumps all over her face, and she didn't have like terrible skin, like for her face to be bumped up like that. So then she started having, like, in her hand you can see like a needle been stabbed in there, like different spots. She just, you know, shooting up. I didn't heard people that shot up in their foot, just, you know, just a place to shoot up at or whatever. She started calling off more and more, coming up with lame ass excuses. Oh yeah, my car, I don't have a car, and my boyfriend just got in an accident and he wrecked first he wrecked her car. Then she's coming to work late, or she's not coming at all because she's saying, oh, I'm dependent on him to bring me to work. Then she says this nigga wrecked his car. I'm just like, bro, like, at this point you falling off as a manager, and it's kind of the same steps, like I said, that we had started seeing with Jack, like just falling off. But with Jack, it was a surprise. With this lady, it was like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck is you doing, you know? And then me and her don't have the best relationship anymore, and it just was getting like too crazy. Like, she was too, like, I honestly feel like she got a mental problem, because the bank will send an email and say, oh, we making changes and we doing certain things to the store, yada yada yada. I'd be in her office like every morning. They kind of had like a one-on-one session with all of us, like try to see where we all at, how we all feel about everything. And she'll tell me like, oh, hey, they just emailed me and said that this is going to be a change or whatever. So I'll be like, oh, okay. You know, she like, that's stupid. I don't like this change, whatever. 5 minutes later, I kid you not, we would leave out of her office. She would go to my assistant manager and be like, I think it's a great idea. And I'm standing right there. So in my head, I'm like, it's like, it got to the point where you start thinking like, am I tripping? Or did this bitch just tell me she didn't like this idea, but she's telling her it's a great idea? Like, which one the fuck is it, you know? So I always get my clarification if I'm tripping or not. I go to my coworkers. I'm like, hey, Have you ever noticed she'll say one thing, then to somebody else she'll say a completely other fucking thing, or you just get the wrong idea about her? They like, yeah. I'm like, man, it must be the drugs. Like, she a whole crackhead out here. Basically, we had a crackhead for a manager, and that was more stressful and worse because, like, somebody drunk, they'll go sit their ass down. It'll be days where she'll come in, clean up the whole store, complain all day. Like, it's like, depending on what type of drugs she took, it gave a different result and a different outcome. Like I said, with a drunk motherfucker, they gonna sit their ass down, they gonna throw up, they gonna whatever the fuck, then they gonna leave and go home. They might go home early. She'll stay there all day. She'll be high, nagging all day, cleaning up the store, like, spotless. Like, she'll rearrange some shit and the next day rearrange it to a whole different dynamic. Like, I'm just like, what the fuck is wrong with her? And mind you, I'm pregnant the whole time. So it got to the point where it started, I'm getting further and further along. And before I was pregnant, I was real, like, I moved around a lot. And by us trying to make sales and stuff, like, I was the main person that they was putting out there to go get accounts, to sell stuff, and I brought in a lot of traffic for the bank. So I'm getting further and further along in my pregnancy, and I'm not able to move around like that anymore. Like, you know, like, I'm getting tired, or I need to sit down. I feel like those are natural things that pregnant women need to sit down. And she had a problem with that. She started saying that I was going to the bathroom too much, I was sitting down too much, but she never said these things to me. So it was another coworker, actually the assistant manager ended up getting fired for, like, some forgery. She was signing people documents and stuff like that, and a different girl from another store had came over to help since we didn't have an assistant manager. So this particular woman, I was cool with her too, but her and Jackie was like this. They smoked together every morning before they came in. Like, they was like two peas in a pod or whatever. So by me being cool with the other girl, I'm gonna just call her Charlie. So, and that's actually a name that she go by if she don't want to tell people her real name, which is funny. So Charlie is kind of like in the middle of me and Jackie whole you know, thing that we don't like each other, or she don't like me for whatever reason, and I don't like her because she a fucking crackhead and she started too much shit. So she like, yeah, she telling me that you go to the bathroom too much. She's saying that you want to sit down all the time. And I'm like, okay, I'm pregnant. Like, what the fuck? She like, oh, you don't move around like you used to. Oh, she's saying you getting too fat that you pregnant. That's one thing. You do not tell no pregnant woman that she getting too fat or she getting too big. I mean, some pregnant women probably do get too big or whatever the fuck, but give her a chance. After she dropped that baby, she might drop that weight, and it ain't your business or your problem to even be worried about that. That's just being mean at that point, or you just being inconsiderate that she don't have a baby in her, you know, or that she probably is eating more. She fucking hungry because that damn baby hungry or whatever. So I'm just like, okay, because, you know, I guess I was a good size before I was pregnant, so she was talking about that, and, you know, just a whole bunch of just irrelevant, unnecessary things, which to me, I was confused by, because I'm like, how can somebody that's not paying you any fucking attention, that literally comes to work, speak to you? And I may not talk to her for the rest of the day, because at that point, like, at last year, I had been working there for 2 years, so I didn't need to fucking even talk to her. I knew how to do every fucking thing. And if I didn't know how to do it, I'm calling another store before I fucking ask her. So it was just like so catty in there, and I hated that. And I hated that it was just all women that worked there, and everything was just so catty and so many attitudes and all that shit. And I'm just like, I'm just trying to work. You know, like, I'm pregnant, I'm just trying to work. I'm not for the extra shit. So it got to the point where I couldn't sit down no more, and she started wanting to get me fired. But I think she was just on my head so hard because I didn't give her no energy and no attention. And that's one thing I can say. People hate that shit. If somebody's trying to get your attention, either to make you mad or they just want to talk to you or whatever the fuck, if you ignoring them, that makes them even matter, and that makes them even more have a motive to fuck with your ass. But at the time, I'm just like, maybe if I just ignore her, everything would be cool. Like, I'm just trying to stay in good spirits, you know, because I was pregnant. So it got to the point where, like, Charlie started telling me, yeah, you know, she wants you fired, she wants you going. She say that you're this, you're that, you're whatever the fuck, you think you all that, whatever the fuck. So I'm going to my doctor's appointment. I'm really, at this point, I'm trying to have them release me early from work, because I couldn't get released unless a doctor allowed me to get released from work early, because it had to be something like medically wrong that I could not work. And I'm like, they won't let me sit down. And oh my God, I can't believe I forgot to tell y'all this. One day, one of my coworkers, he asked to leave early. My manager let him leave early. At this time, the assistant manager, she hadn't been fired yet. She still works there. She had just got some surgery or whatever, and down there on her little coochie mama, she just got some surgery, and he asked to leave early. She asked the assistant manager. It was just like us four at work. So the person that's on the drawer doing transaction, he says, can he leave early for whatever fucking reason? She let him go early. The assistant manager just got the surgery done, and she's still not feeling all the way good to stand up and work on the drawer. At this time, I'm probably like 5 or 4 months pregnant, so I should not be standing up in a fucking drawer, or I should not be standing up for a long time period. So she tells me, hey, so-and-so about to leave. Can you get in the drawer? The assistant manager, she's still not feeling good, so I'm not going to have her in the drawer. Which to me, that's just like, he shouldn't have been able to leave early, to me, in my eyes, because you have someone that's pregnant, and you also have someone that just had surgery. And really, why the fuck is she even at work if she had surgery and she want to sit down like all day and not do anything? I wanted to sit down and still help clients. Like, I was fine, or I would be like, let me just open up accounts all day. The assistant manager, she didn't have her own office, but she literally was all day in the back, in a room that we would go to for like our breaks. She didn't even want to sit out in the open like she was even at work. So that's the difference between her sitting down and me wanting to sit down because I'm pregnant. Anywho, she like, so-and-so finna go home. Can you work on the drawer? Such and such just had surgery. She don't want to stand up at the drawer. Whatever the fuck. And I wanted to, and the girl that came from the other store, she wasn't at, no, she was at work that day. She was opening up checking accounts, and she was from another store, so she didn't have a drawer that had money in there, because she was just coming to help us. So there wasn't like her primary store where she actually had a drawer there, so she couldn't even be on the drawer. There wasn't an option. So I fucking get on, I asked her, and mind you, at this time I was just gonna take my lunch break. I'm hungry as hell. I'm trying to eat for me and my son. So I tell her, I'm like, that's fine, can I go get some food before I start doing transactions? She like, yeah, you can go get some food, but just help a few people. Like, she like kept on holding it off. Thinking back on it, I'm like, I should have just walked out. I should just left. It was a Subway. Like, the Subway wasn't inside of Walmart. Like, I know some Walmarts do have a Subway in there. It wasn't inside of Walmart. It was like a whole like little strip where it was different different businesses and stuff like along with that Walmart. So Subway was a little walk down, like probably like a 3-minute walk down. So I was gonna walk down there and get me some food. She like, can you help a few people, because he has to go right now. Can you get your drawer, help a few people, then you can go, and I'll just you know, send people to the ATM or see if they can do online mobile banking or whatever the fuck until you come back. I'm like, okay, you know. So I'm just still trying to be cool. We at work. It's obvious. Everybody know we don't fuck with each other. But she my manager. I'm still just trying to be cool because, like I said, I am at work. So I'm like, okay. I take my drawer out. A guy comes up that I've been talking to at Walmart about getting a checking account. So he comes up, and Charlie, that's her main thing for coming to our store, was to open up checking accounts, because she was real good at getting in business and clientele. And our store kind of needed help with getting in more checking accounts and stuff like that. So the guy comes up, and of course he think I'm about to open his account. I tell him, you know, I'm on a drawer or whatever. So Charlie has to open it. In particular, I don't like other people to open up checking accounts and use my code, so it's underneath my name. So so say they open up the account, they can easily fuck up the account and your name's attached to it. So I was like, so where people sat down to open up checking accounts was right next to where I was working the teller line. So I'm helping people and I'm looking over to make sure she's doing everything right. She's been working there for 4 years, but still everybody make mistakes. And I just wanted to make sure everything was good since my name was going to be attached to it. So I'm looking over. Finally, the line kind of dies down and I'm like, you know what? I can take over from here. Thank you for helping. I haven't had nobody in a while. If somebody do come up, try to help them the most you can until I come back. Because really, she was pretty much done with the account. It was the other little things that she had to do, like debit card, direct deposit, all that stuff. And those things were kind of fast and I could do that in between somebody coming up. So I leave, I walk from the teller line and I walk on the outside because at that time, you know, COVID and everything, they didn't have people coming really that up close to the branch. It was like crossed off where people had to be like a 6 feet distance from the branch. So I walk around to where he at, and immediately as soon as I walked around over there, bam, I hit the floor. And I got up. I was like unconscious, but like I remember just feeling like I was gonna pass out. And it was a chair right there too, but I didn't make it to the chair. I just hit the ground and I got up. Charlie went and got me some sub. I gave her some money. She went and got me some Subway. I know it was because I didn't eat anything. And it's because my manager, she could have had the guy wait. Let me go get some food. But I should have just walked out and left and got some food. But still, that's on her. I told her, can I get some food? I communicated that with her that I wanted to go get some food, you know, before I start doing anything, because I was just about to take my break. I haven't even took my break yet. So that means my break was going to be hellas before I even took a break, because somebody asked to leave before I go on break and you let them just go like that. Like, what manager don't make sure other people had their breaks in? Or if you know I'm the only other option to have a drawer out, why wouldn't you make sure I was straight first before you just let motherfuckers leave, you know? So she talks about that. So I get up, like I said, Charlie got me some food, and I eat my food. HR called me, everything's okay, are you all right? The next day I go to the doctor, make sure that, you know, my son's okay. Jackie fucking says, did she really even fall? Did she just want attention? And I'm pregnant. Why the fuck would I lie and say that I fell and passed out? Then it's a camera right there, but the way that where I fell at, it's kind of like a hidden spot where the camera doesn't pick up. And she telling people, I tried to look back on the camera and see if she really fell, but it's a hidden spot I can't see. She even went upon herself and asked the guy that came up for the checking account, did you really see her fall? Did she really fall? And he was like, yeah, she passed out right in front of me. Like, she fell like on her butt first. Like, her butt hit the ground first. Then her head followed like right after that. But I'm just like, who does all that? Who tries to see me fall on camera? Oh, she's lying. She a liar. She want attention. Asking the person that was in front of me, he like, yeah, she fell. Like, she didn't believe me for shit. Like, anything I said, she didn't believe shit. And it's like, I don't know, I never gave her a reason not to believe nothing. I think she just crazy, you know. So that whole situation happened. It just kept spiraling like out of control until they end up putting us on different teams. I didn't have to work with her. I was so happy. And actually right now, I don't even work there no more. Like, I started working there back in March, and I ended up getting fired because, so I was coming in like 5 minutes late. Everybody came in 5 to 10 minutes late. Everybody. Even her. One time, the store opened up at, I think at that time, the store opened up at like 9:30, 10 o'clock. She came in at 11, and she gonna fucking say, oh, it was just such a beautiful day out, such a beautiful morning. I watered all of my plants. I took my dogs out. We was having a good time in the morning, and I was like, shoot, I have to go to work, and laughing about the shit. Couldn't nobody else do that? Couldn't nobody else be like, I was just lollygagging before I came to work? Like, hell no, you know. So she tell me, me and her, like I said, we don't have the best relationship, and we know that we don't like each other basically at this point, and we still have to talk somewhat though. So she put me in her office one day. She like, hey, you know, I know you'd be a few minutes late. I've been picking it up on ADP. That's the system that we use to clock in on, and they can see our time stamp for when we clock in or whatever. She like, hey, I know that you come in a few minutes late. I'm seeing it on ADP. Can you just communicate this with me? And she had a 10-minute grace period at her location. So she like, can you just communicate that with me, that you're gonna be late, and it's fine. Like, we're good if you just communicate that with me. I say, okay. And I do that too. Like, whenever I am gonna be late, and it's because like me and my dude was sharing a car at that time, so I would have to get up hella early. At the time, he had to be at work at 7 in the morning, so he has to be there at 7. Picture what time like I'm getting up. So I'm hella far along. I'm big and pregnant basically. I have to get up at 5, 6 something in the morning, drop him off, come back home and get ready myself, get some breakfast or make some breakfast. Like, I have to eat something or I start feeling sick if I don't eat nothing before I go to work. So I'm getting some food, and I'm trying to do this up until like 9 months. I'm getting up hella early, going home myself, getting ready, going to work. So I may be a few minutes late. I may have to stop to get gas, whatever the fuck. Like, it's no excuse, but like I may be a little late, because what pregnant woman want to get up at 5, 6 in the morning every fucking day and then have to get ready herself, and she tired as fuck, you know? So she act like she understood that. Oh, just communicate that with me. It's fine. Just tell me. I'm like, okay, I do that. I do that. This year I come back to work, you know, after having the baby and everything, and I come back to work, and it's actually like I don't work, like at this point I wasn't working with her no more because they had put us on different teams. So another store needed help. They like, can you work at this store? And I end up, so it was I had a choice to choose between Tuesday or Thursday that I wanted to, Tuesday or Friday. I didn't want to work Friday because my dude was off work on Friday. I had just actually got married in March, and you know, I didn't want to go to work that day. Like, so I told her, I lied, and I said, oh, we having a little family get together. I just got married, and I want Friday off, and I work at the other store on Tuesday. So me and one of my coworkers, she ended up hiring a new girl while I was off on maternity leave, and me and a new girl end up switching days. At first she wouldn't let us switch days, and I could not figure out why. She kept on wanting me to work Friday and not Tuesday, and I'm in my head, I'm like, oh, she just being mean. She don't want me to have my family get together because I just got married. She don't want me to do that, you know, yada yada yada. She just being mean. I still don't know why. I end up calling one of the regional managers, and she ended up approving it over Jackie. So I go to the different location, and I work there on Tuesday. Tell me why I come to work on Wednesday, Jackie's like, I'm sorry, your time here has ran out. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm like, I literally just worked my ass off at a different store, and she wanted me to work Friday because I was already fired. But to me, at that point, you should tell a motherfucker that. Or at that point, why did the regional manager approve me to work? So I worked at a different store for free. Do you know how fucking mad I was to work at another store for free? And I couldn't get paid for the day. And the store that I went to was hella busy, and it was just me and the manager there. So all day, I opened up about 8 fucking checking accounts that day. And in between writing tickets and helping him, because I didn't have no drawer at that location. So I just had to write up the slip for him to make the line go down a little faster. I'm opening checking accounts. People want credit builders, credit cards, loans. The phone ringing off the fucking hook, because at this particular time, I think people was getting stimulus checks. So that's why we were so busy, because everybody had a stimulus check and they wanted the cash out their account. People calling because people's stimulus checks was getting sent to their old checking accounts. and the account was forcing back open, just all type of crazy shit. So she like, oh, that's why I didn't want you to work on Wednesday. That's why I didn't want you to work yesterday because, you know, Tuesday, because you was already let go. I'm like, how grimy is this company? Then all the reasons that I got fired, all the times I was late was on that piece of paper. It was a train that was right by there. I would tell her, hey, I'll take a picture and be like, I'm basically here. I got stopped by the train. On the piece of paper, got stopped by the train at this day. She clocked in at this time. She says she's running late, yada, yada, you know, da, 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 da. Like, basically, I should have known that I couldn't trust her, and I should have just made sure I was on time. Like, you know, this is a definitely a situation that I've learned from, is that even if you and your manager do have a good relationship, you just still can't always take their word, because it's managers out here that, you know, try to fire people, or they try to get you caught up or slipped up or whatever the fuck, especially if they want you gone. So it's just best to just be on your P's and Q's and make sure you do what you're supposed to do, because you can't bank on nobody else to guide you or to act like you're in safe and good hands. You got to make sure you're okay. And that's what I should have did. But, you know, at times I was just tired as fuck, like, or I'm feeling sick in the morning or whatever the fuck, you know, and she act like that was cool. And she got what she wanted, basically, and I'm gone. And that was the worst job I ever had. And at the beginning, it was the best job I ever had, because like I said, it was the first like big girl, high paying job at that time. And, you know, I thought it was good. It was smooth. Like I said, it was really easy to work there. It's just the managers made stuff more difficult. Like, the job in itself, hella easy. The fucking managers made it hell. The people that I work with had started, like, you know, it just, basically, it was the environment. Like, I loved all my customers. Like, we was cool. Everybody preferred to go to me. You know, I had built a relationship with certain people because I was working there for 2 years. So, like, I loved working there. I loved the type of work and the job. I loved the clients that came up. Everybody was so nice. Everybody was cool. Like, I ain't had that many people that was, like, crazy or whatever, because I took care of them. I made them feel comfortable. But it really is the people that they decide to make as the manager is a poor choice of who they decide to run things, and they can run people away or make people be in an uncomfortable situation. So I also forgot to mention that this same manager that got me fired, actually, she's still the manager at that location I was working at. And you know how jobs do like background checks like every few years. So I'm still cool. People that work there, and we still talk or whatever, and they tell me the inside scoop, you know, since I don't work there no more. And she actually, they redid her background check, and this girl lied and act like her family was in a hospital for like a few weeks, because she really was in jail and have a whole heroin charge pending, you know, on her background check. So evil never prevails. Just know that if somebody ever do anything, like, basically, karma gonna come around. You can't mistreat people and think nothing gonna happen to you. You can't do stuff to people just being evil. Like, her getting me fired, that was just evil. Like, that was just pure evil, and I did nothing to her. And look what she got going on now. So if you a good person, just keep doing what you're doing, no matter like what nobody else doing to you, because you're gonna always get your happy ending and your happy outcome if you a good ass person.